Hello and welcome back to another video. This is the 2st episode of the story, in which Naruto is adopted by Uchiha clan. Hit like and subscribe buttons. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Team 7 was currently hiding out in one of the forested training areas in the outskirts of the village. Why were they there, you ask? Well, they were on a mission to track down and subdue a formidable opponent that had bested many of their comrades and left them covered with cuts and rumpled clothes as they pursued him. All three Jonin were tired and both Hinata and Sasuke had their Dojutsu active to track their foe, and Naruto had even created several Kage Bunshin to serve as scouts as they searched the woods. "This is Naruto," said Naruto into the radio he was using to communicate with his team. "My clones are in position." "Hi," said Hinata, "I have eyes on the target." "Sasuke-kun, move 2 meters northwest and you'll intercept the target." "Right," answered Sasuke. "Naruto, we'll force him to you. Use your clones to subdue the target, but be careful. He's not called the Bane of Jonin for nothing." Sasuke shot forward and spotted his target with his Sharingan. Drawing a kunai, he threw it at the target, purposely missing the target to scare it in the direction of his adopted brother's clones. When the figure saw the clones closing in on it, the target didn't falter, and instead attacked the blonde and his clones with claws that tore through them, causing the Kage Bunshin to dispel from the damage as the blonde was left with several slashes that healed quickly thanks to the QB inside him. "Hinata-kun," called out Naruto, "he's coming your way." The Hyuga heiress got into a stance, prepared to face the vicious opponent, but was surprised when the target leapt into her arms and began to purr. Yes. The dangerous target Team 7 was pursuing was the pet cat of the daimyo's wife's pet cat, Tora. And yes, this cat was the reason the Jonin were covered in scratches and dirt. "All that work and that thing just jumps into Hinata-kun's arms?" groaned Naruto. "Well done, team," said Kakashi as he walked up. "That took a total of 34 minutes. A new record for this mission. Let's just get that monster to its owner before I strangle the damn demon," grumbled Sasuke, his irritation breaking through his cool and collected persona. Scene XX. "Okay, I kinda feel sorry for him now," deadpanned Naruto as he watched Tora as he was practically being smothered to death by his owner's hugs. "An excellent job, Team 7, said Hiruzen as the team received their payment. "Are there any other missions?" sighed Naruto, causing the rest of his team to stare at him. "There's a big ramen sale this weekend and I could use some spending money." "Well," chuckled Hiruzen, "there's weeding the Yamanaka garden, cleaning the Inuzuka kennels, painting a wall of the academy building." Suddenly the squirming Tora managed to extract himself from his owner's grip and leapt out the window. "Well," said Hiruzen, "looks like we can add capturing Tora to that list again." But when he turned toward Team 7, all he could see was fading after images from where they had once been standing. Said Hiruzen as he checked his watch, "that was faster than Minato's technique." "Indeed," said Kakashi. Scene XX. When Kakashi managed to track his team down, he found them in a free-for-all taijutsu battle royale in the training field. Sasuke had been training with a sword and was fighting off wild kicks and punches from Naruto with a practice bokken that he had gotten. Hinata had gotten quite skilled as well. She had begun, after listening to suggestions from her teammates, to take advantage of her Byakugan and natural flexibility to specialize in weapon skills to complement her Juoken. Kakashi saw her blocking swipes from Sasuke's weapon with training kunai in her hands. Naruto had also trained himself to become better as well with his own skill set. He would take advantage of his immense chakra reserves to create a near-endless supply of Kage Bunshin to serve as his support in battle. In this spar, he was using his clones to springboard off of and use as meat shields to block his teammates' attacks. Kakashi couldn't help but smile as he watched his team work and flow, knowing each other's skills and weaknesses to an extent that a spar like this didn't have a clear winner, and instead helped the trio to better themselves and work harder. He would have loved to let the three of them continue, but he felt it was a good time to step in. "Alright you three," he called out, "let's not overdo it." The three Jonin broke away from their spar and walked up to their sensei, taking bottles of water that he handed to them. "Sorry about that, Kakashi-sensei," said Naruto, "but we are not going after that cat without at least a month to cool down. Otherwise, we might just kill the beast to keep it from escaping again." "Naruto," sighed Kakashi, "you can't do that." "He's right," said Sasuke, getting a smile from Kakashi until the Jonin continued, "Killing it would make his owner sad and she'd simply get a new cat. We just need to break a leg or two so it can't run anymore." Kakashi's sweat dropped as the three Jonin nodded sagely at this plan. "How about I take you three out for ramen?" asked Kakashi. "I have a surprise for the three of you tomorrow." "Alright," cheered Naruto. The blonde was always up for ramen. "I wouldn't mind a bowl or two," said Sasuke with a small smile. "I like their miso ramen," said Hinata shyly. "Let's go," said Naruto, "all you can eat, Dadabayo." Kakashi-sensei's ping. "Wait, what?" exclaimed Kakashi. "I didn't." "I'm down for that," said Sasuke, getting a nod from Hinata. As the three Jonin ran off, Kakashi couldn't help but sigh as he imagined the dent in his budget this dinner would make. Scene XX. The next morning, Team 7 met up at the mission room where Kakashi was waiting for them with his book in hand. He had stopped arriving late to the training after their first training session. He had decided to honor his late team's memory by training his students to be their very best. He could even see Obito and himself in Naruto and Sasuke respectively, and he could even see a bit of Rin in Hinata as she developed her skill. He still read as Uchiha, that would never change, but he took their training a lot more seriously, teaching them new jutsu and building on the skills they already had. Smiling at his team behind his mask, he closed and pocketed his book. "Good to see the three of you made it," said Kakashi. "So what's this big surprise, Kakashi-sensei?" asked Naruto. "Well," said Kakashi, "I've seen the three of you doing so well in your training and performing all those rank missions, and I think the three of you are ready for something bigger." "What do you mean bigger?" asked Sasuke. "As of this morning," said Kakashi, "I've put in a request for your first crank mission." "A crank?" exclaimed Naruto excitedly. "That's awesome, Ibayo." "Do you really think we're ready, Kakashi-sensei?" asked Hinata nervously. "After seeing the three of you train, I think you can handle a crank," said Kakashi. "So what is it?" asked Sasuke. "What's the mission?" "We're going to be escorting a bridge builder back to his home in Nami no Kuni," said Kakashi. "There might be bandits along the path, so our job will be to keep him safe. Meet up at the North Gate in 1 hour and you'll meet our client." "Hi," said the team as they headed off to pack. Scene XX. 52 minutes later, Team 7 was waiting at the North Gate with their gear in their packs. Soon, Kakashi came up to the trio with a man that looked more than a little hungover. "This is our client, Tazuna," said Kakashi. "We'll be escorting him back to his home in Nami no Kuni and shall be in charge of his safety along the way." "These three are the ones who'll protect me?" grunted Tazuna. "All I see is a dumb blonde, a brooding kid with a duck-butt hairdo and a shy princess." Tazuna suddenly felt something warm and wet slide down his cheek. Feeling the substance, he was surprised to find that it was blood, his blood, leaking from a small cut on his cheek. "I'm sorry, my hand slipped," said Naruto as he moved out of the stance he was in from throwing a kunai. "Must be because I'm a dumb blonde." "Naruto," said Kakashi sternly, "you are not to harm our client. And Tazuna-san, please do not insult my team. Because as their sensei, that's an insult towards me as well." The last statement was said with a cheerful voice and a nice smile, but Tazuna could feel the ominous aura leaking from the Jonin and nodded his head frantically. "Good," said Kakashi cheerfully, "then let's get underway." Scene XX. The team continued on their way, encountering no real trouble as they made their way towards their destination. However, this changed when the three of them noticed a puddle on the side of the road. Sasuke frowned and activated his Sharingan for a brief second, glancing at the puddle. Sasuke then tapped a pattern on his brother's arm, causing Naruto to tap a similar pattern on Hinata's arm. As they walked past the puddle, a shinobi wearing a horned headband rose out of the water with a similarly garbed shinobi rising out of another puddle hidden behind a rock. The two assailants rushed toward Kakashi, extending a chain of razor-sharp blades from gauntlets on their arms and wrapped these blade chains around the Jonin. "You're finished," said the masked shinobi as he and his partner tugged on the chains, causing the blades to tear Kakashi apart. "Now for the kids," snarled the other shinobi as he rushed at Naruto with his clawed gauntlet. Naruto's eyes widened as the bladed claw impaled him through his stomach, but the masked shinobi's triumph was short-lived when Naruto's body vanished in a poof of smoke, revealing him to be a cage bunshine. Before the shinobi could react, he was sent flying back as Hinata buried a Juuken strike into the man's gut and Sasuke used a Raiden-enhanced blade to remove the man's arm from his body, causing him to fall to the ground as his heart began to go into cardiac arrest. "You killed my brother," yelled the remaining assassin as he charged at Hinata with his gauntlet, but he was stopped when a powerful blast of air sent him into a tree. "You won't beat us," said Naruto as he walked up holding 3 kunai. "Those won't do much," said the assassin. "We'll see," said Naruto as he threw the 3 weapons. The shinobi tried to block with his gauntlet, but the kunai had been coated with futon chakra and stabbed into the gauntlet, burying themselves deep into the assailant's arm. The shinobi cried out in pain, allowing Hinata to paralyze his legs with some well-placed Juuken strikes. "Now," said Sasuke as he held his sword to the man's throat, Who are you and why are you here? Instead of answering, the shinobi moved his neck so the blade would slit his throat before falling to the ground dead. Great, groaned Naruto, now what do we do? We ask our client, said Kakashi as he walked out of the bushes. You three did well, but the question still remains, why did Tochunin rank missing and attack a simple bridge builder on a crank mission? Now talk. Tazuna faced the intense glare of Kakashi as the Jonin waited for his explanation. After fighting the two Chunin rank shinobi and watching his team take their first kills, he was losing patience with their client rather quickly. I can explain, sighed Tazuna. Please do so, said Kakashi coldly. My country isn't wealthy enough to afford a B rank, sighed Tazuna in resignation. I couldn't afford to pay for a higher level of protection. So, said Kakashi, what kind of threat would cause you to take such a risk? A terrible man named Gato has taken over my home, said Tazuna. Gato, said Sasuke, do you mean Gato, the leader of the Gato shipping company? The one and only, said Tazuna grimly, but he is far from the enterprising CEO that the public sees him as. He's a ruthless tyrant that has seized control over the ports of Naminokuni and placed an embargo that allows him to control all traffic in and out. The country is being bled dry in order to pay his fees, and if something isn't done, people will suffer. That's why he wants me dead. The super bridge that I'm building will render his shipping embargo useless, as we will have a direct link to the mainland, thus he wants me dead. I see, said Kakashi, so on one hand, we could abandon this mission and head back, leaving you to face the consequences of your deceit, or we could continue on, and possibly face missing in that could be at our rank levels. Please, said Tazuna, my family and my people need this bridge to gain our freedom from this tyrant. This isn't my decision, said Kakashi grimly, I can't force my students to go through with this task. It is their choice whether we leave or stay. Kakashi looked at his three students with a calm gaze from his exposed eye. The three Genin glanced at each other before Naruto stepped forward. Despite the fact that this mission should be a break at the least, we can't just leave those people as they are, said Naruto seriously. We were hired to protect him, so let's finish the job, said Sasuke. That's what we do, right Hinata? Sasuke glanced at their lavender-eyed teammate, but to his surprise, she was staring off into space with a distracted look. Hinata-kun? Asked Naruto as he noticed his teammate's distraction. Is everything alright? It's nothing, Naruto-kun, said Hinata softly with a slight blush. If you say so, said Naruto, but Kakashi frowned a bit behind his mask and made a note to talk to the shy heiress later about what he suspected was bothering her. Well, said Kakashi, it looks like we'll be sticking around, Tazuna-san. But do not lie to us again. Thank you, said Tazuna. Scene XX. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit warehouse, several figures were gathered in a meeting. The Demon Brothers failed, grumbled a short, portly man that was smoking a cigar. You just can't get good help for your money these days. I do hope you'll be worth the price. A tall, muscular man with a large sword strapped to his back snorted and faced the door. Those idiots were weak. I'm on an entirely different level. Remember that, Gato. Just don't disappoint, said Gato as he walked out of the room with his several bodyguards. Haku, said the man with the sword, let's go. Hi, Zabuza-sama, said a feminine figure wearing a mask as the two of them walked out. Scene XX. As the group continued to walk along the forested path, Kakashi pulled Hinata aside, allowing the two of them to fall behind so he could talk to her in private. Hinata, said Kakashi kindly, we need to talk. Did I do something wrong, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Hinata nervously. No, said Kakashi, it's just that you've seemed troubled since the battle. I'm fine, said Hinata. Kakashi shook his head. I know you're not, because I've seen the symptoms before. Tell me, this was your first kill, right? Yes, said Hinata softly, I acted on instinct, and now that man is dead. Hinata, said Kakashi kindly, wanting to kill to protect others is perfectly natural, and what you're feeling now is natural as well. If you weren't feeling regret over your first kill, then I would send you to the Yamanaka for a psyche evaluation. But Sasuke-san and Naruto-kun both aren't affected, said Hinata sadly, they're so much stronger than I am. The reason for that isn't because they're immune, said Kakashi, but rather that they've seen into the darkness due to their pasts. They've already seen death, and have gone through the same regret you feel now. Have you ever felt it? Asked Hinata. Every time I visit the memorial stone, said Kakashi, and it won't go away, but you'll become stronger and will grow from it. Thank you for the talk, said Hinata. I am your sensei after all, said Kakashi as the two of them rejoined the group. They continued to walk for a while, when suddenly, Naruto whirled and hurled a kunai into the bushes. Going to check, he saw he had accidentally killed a rabbit with a snow-white coat. "Oops," said Naruto sheepishly. "A rabbit wouldn't have a white pelt this time of year," thought Kakashi. "That means Kawarimi." "Everybody down," yelled Kakashi as he pulled Tazuna to the ground. Team 7 dove to the ground just in time to avoid a massive Zanbato that flew spinning over their heads, only stopping when its blade embedded into the trunk of a tree. "Hey!" laughed a voice, causing the group to look up and see a muscular man wearing a sleeveless black outfit with gray arm and leg warmers and bandages over his mouth. "You brats took down the demon brothers?" Kiri's standards must have really dropped. "Zabuza Momochi," said Kakashi as he got to his feet, "the demon of the mist." "Kakashi of the Sharingan," Zabuza responded, "I never thought I'd get the chance to go against you." "All of you stay back and guard Tazuna," said Kakashi to his students. "Zabuza's too strong for you to defeat." Kakashi stepped forward and moved his headband to reveal his Sharingan eye as Zabuza hopped off his blade and wrenched it free from the tree. "I'm honored to face that eye of yours," said Zabuza, "but it won't help you win here." Kirigakure no Jutsu. A thick mist formed around the group, obscuring Zabuza from their vision. Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata quickly got into formation around their client, drawing their respective weapons, but suddenly they could hear Zabuza's voice echoing around them. "Liver, lungs, spine, jugular, larynx, brain, kidneys, heart," his voice echoed ominously, 8 targets to cause death. "Which one should I pick?" The 3 Genin shivered at the amount of killing intent leaking into the clearing, but Kakashi simply smiled reassuringly at them. "Don't worry," he said, "I won't let anything happen to you 3. "Wishful thinking," said Zabuza as he appeared behind Kakashi and bisected him with a swing of his massive sword. The 3 Genin watched in horror as Zabuza loomed over them while their sensei's body fell to the ground, but suddenly, Kakashi's corpse turned into water and the Jonin reappeared, stabbing a kunai into Zabuza's neck. His victory was short-lived though, as the Zabuza he stabbed was revealed to be a water clone as well. "Impressive," said Zabuza as the mist thinned a bit, "to think you copied my jutsu back then. Too bad it won't save you." Zabuza shot at Kakashi swinging his massive blade, causing the Sharingan user to duck down to avoid being decapitated. As he dropped to the ground, Kakashi swept his leg out, aiming to knock Zabuza's legs out from under him. The demon of the mist jumped over his opponent's leg sweep, and performed a mid-air kick to Kakashi's head that sent the Kopinen sprawling back. "Not quite good enough," said Zabuza as he raised his sword above his head. Before Zabuza could deliver the killing blow however, Kakashi lashed out and slammed a kick into his gut, stunning him long enough to get out of range and retreat to a small lake in the clearing they were in. Kakashi tried to stand on the water with his chakra, but was surprised when he instead fell through up to his neck. "This water is heavy," he said surprised. "Foolish," said Zabuza, as he appeared next to him with a shunshine, "now you're mine." Suro no Jutsu. A water sphere formed around Kakashi, trapping him on the lake with Zabuza maintaining the technique with one arm. "Now," said the demon of the mist as he created a Mizu Bunshine, to finish the brats. Team 7 couldn't help but feel a chill of fear as they watched Zabuza's Mizu Bunshine walk toward them with his large sword held on his shoulder. They had just watched their sensei, a man who they could barely defeat when they worked together, get beaten and trapped by their current opponent with said opponent barely breaking a sweat. Now that they had to face him alone and still protect Tazuna, their chances of survival were looking rather slim. "Alright, which one of you Gaki will be first?" smirked the Mizu Bunshine. "This is bad," muttered Sasuke, "he took out Kakashi-sensei so easily." "We can't fight someone at his level," said Hinata. "It doesn't matter," yelled Naruto, surprising his teammates, "we're Shinobi of Konoha and our mission is to protect Tazuna-san, so we'll do so." "Ha," laughed Zabuza's clone, "you Gaki think you can just put on a headband and call yourselves real Shinobi? We are tools of death and weapons of war, the 3 of you don't have the guts to be real Shinobi. But no matter, I'm going to cut out those guts anyway." "Nizan," said Naruto as he made a hand sign, maneuver number 11. "You never give up," smirked Sasuke. "Got it, Hinata, protect Tazuna." "Hi," said Hinata as she got into a Juuken stance. Ever since the 2 of them had resolved to confront Itachi one day, Naruto and Sasuke had been training together, developing several combination techniques and maneuvers like the one they used against Kakashi during the bell test. Now it was time to see how they matched up against a strong opponent. As Naruto created several Kage Bunshine, Sasuke made several hand seals and took a deep breath. "Kaden, Gokaku no Jutsu. Futon, Datappa," yelled Naruto as he blew a blast of wind from his lungs. Sasuke breathed out a stream of fire that merged with the wind to form a massive inferno that shot at the Mizu Bunshine. The copy simply smirked and blurred through several hand seals before stopping and focusing its chakra. Suten, Suijin Heki, yelled the Bunshine as it spat out a mass of water that formed into a wall that absorbed the inferno, turning to steam as the fire was quelled. Zabuza's clone then shot at Naruto and Sasuke, kicking the older brother aside as he attacked the younger blonde. Luckily for Naruto, his cage Bunshine were able to slam into the Demon of the Mist, preventing him from taking the blonde's head off with his sword. "We need to make the real him move, while keeping the Bunshine from killing us," said Sasuke. "Easier said than done," said Naruto. "I have a plan," said Sasuke. "Hinata, be ready to move." "Hai," said Hinata. "If you have time to talk then just die," yelled the Mizu Bunshin as it attacked with its sword. Sasuke rolled out of the way of the blade and began to focus his chakra. "Naruto, maneuver number 8. "Hi, Nizan," said Naruto. The brothers began to weave hand seals together while Naruto's cage Bunshine kept Zabuza's Mizu Bunshine off their backs. "Ready," said Naruto, as a clone jumped to his side. "Suten, Suihachi. Futon, Daitappa," yelled the clone. "Raiten, Jaibashi." Sasuke called out, "Kanbai Jutsu, Arashi no Uzu." The Mizu Bunshine's eyes widened as Naruto shot a blast of water from his hand that was turned into a twisting torrent from the blast of wind his clone generated that absorbed the blast of lightning that Sasuke generated from his hands, creating a vortex of electrified water that shot at the Mizu Bunshine. The Bunshine couldn't avoid in time and was torn apart by the vortex. "Now," yelled Sasuke, causing Hinata to throw several kunai with deadly accuracy using her Byakugan, while coating them with Futon Chakra for extra power. Zabuza growled as the kunai shot at him. He knew he wouldn't be able to block all the kunai with only one hand and the chakra coating them, along with the fact that they were aimed at his vital points, meant that taking the hit was out of the question, so gritting his teeth, he pulled his hand free from the water prison and leaped out of the way. "Troublesome Gaki," spat the Demon of the Mist, "looks like I'll deal with you myself." "Unlikely," said an icy voice, causing Zabuza to turn and see a tired yet angry Kakashi Hatake pulling himself to his feet on the water as the tome in his Sharingan began to spin unnoticed. "My Jinan are strong and when they work together, they can even stand against someone like you. However you're not fighting them. You're facing me." "Fine then, Sharingan no Kakashi," said Zabuza before blurring through several hand seals, "show me the strength that made you so infamous." "Suten, Suryudan no Jutsu." Kakashi simply replied by weaving through his own set of hand seals, "Suten, Suryudan no Jutsu." The two Jonin created large serpentine dragons out of the water they were standing on and caused them to clash together violently before cancelling each other out. "That won't be enough," said Zabuza as he began more hand seals. "Suten, Dai. Suten, Daibakufu no Jutsu," yelled Kakashi. "What?" exclaimed Zabuza in surprise before he was slammed by a massive vortex of water that Kakashi created with his jutsu. The blast sent the missing Nin smashing through several trees before finally coming to a stop with a broken and sore body as Kakashi walked up with a kunai raised. "You," growled Zabuza, "how did you know what jutsu I was about to use?" finished Kakashi with a cold look. "Can you see the future?" gasped Zabuza. "Yes," said Kakashi, "and your future is death. But before that, I am going to show you what happens when you threaten my students." Infusing the kunai with Raiten Chakra, Kakashi hurled it at Zabuza's right arm, before drawing a second kunai and doing the same to his left. The chakra-infused blades tore through the bone and muscle while simultaneously paralyzing the missing Nin's body due to the electrical discharge. "Like I said," said Kakashi as he glared into Zabuza's eyes, "your future is death." With that, he brought a third kunai down and stabbed through Zabuza's neck, causing the Demon of the Mist's blood to stain the bandages around his mouth crimson before he passed on to the pure world. "That's that," said Kakashi as he covered his Sharingan again before he staggered forward and would have fallen to the ground if the rest of Team 7 hadn't rushed up to catch him. "Kakashi-sensei," said Naruto, "are you alright? I used up too much chakra using the Sharingan for so long," said Kakashi. "Let's get moving. I'd like to hope Zabuza was the biggest threat, but let's be careful nonetheless." "Follow me," said Tazuna, "we're almost to my home. We can all rest up there." Scene XX from a vantage point hidden in the trees, a masked figure watched the group leave with shock and horror. The figure had been Zabuza's ace in the hole, his student disguised as a Kiri Hunter-nin that would intervene if things got out of hand and whisk the Demon of the Mist out of danger under the pretense of retrieving a target. Unfortunately, the false Anbu had not been quick enough to stop the Konoha Jonin from killing Zabuza. Now the faker was a tool without a master. With a solemn look back at his former master, the fake Anbu headed to inform Gato of his resignation. X Scene XX Gato growled in anger after hearing of Zabuza's death through his spies. The missing nin had cost him a pretty penny to hire and he had still failed to finish the job. He would need someone stronger to finish this mission and prevent the blasted bridge builder from finishing his work. As he thought back to the report on the team that had fought Zabuza, a smirk made its way onto his face. "Get me our fastest messenger hawk," said the diminutive crime lord. "I have an important offer to make." In a dark shed somewhere in the elemental nations, a cloaked figure was reading a scroll that had been delivered by a messenger hawk while his companion leaned against the wall polishing a katana. "We're leaving," said the one with the message. "What is it this time?" asked the one with the sword. "We've gotten a request that has the potential to be quite profitable," said the first person as he wrote out a response and attached it to the leg of the hawk. "You and your money," sighed the one with the sword. "What is it this time?" "We are to help deal with some shinobi that are giving our client some trouble," said the first one. "We are promised an advance payment of 1 million ryo and an additional 200 million ryo upon the completion of the mission." "DCH, fine," said the swordsman as he sheathed his blade. "Where are we headed now?" "We're off to Namino-kuni," said the first one as he adjusted his cloak. "So grab that cursed sword of yours, Kurashia." "Whatever," said the now-named swordsman as he sheathed his blade. "Don't bust a stitch, Kakuzu." With that, the two members walked out of the shed, allowing light to shine on their black cloaks, illuminating the red clouds stitched into them. X Scene XX After a bit of traveling, Team 7 arrived at Tazuna's house tired from the fight and from helping Kakashi limp along. When they entered the dwelling, Tazuna's daughter, Tsunami quickly helped them get Kakashi to one of the guest rooms while the team rested up a bit. "Thank you all for guarding my father," said Tsunami. "I'm sorry we had to deceive you." "All part of the job," said Sasuke. "We knew the risks when we decided to continue." "We won't let this country stay in Gato's hands," said Naruto. "We'll beat him down and save this land Adabayo." "You're a bunch of fools," said a child's voice, causing Team 7 to turn and see a frowning boy standing in the doorway. "What did you say?" growled Naruto while Sasuke glared at the boy. "Inari," yelled the woman, "please excuse my son." "You heard me," said the boy as he ignored his mother in favor of his tirade. "There's no such thing as heroes. You'll all just die, so why don't you just go home to your safe and happy lives?" "Listen, brat," said Naruto, "don't think you know anything about us." "DCH, said Inari, "you all probably live nice lives with your families. People like you don't know a thing about suffering, so just go home and leave us be." Smash! Naruto stood to his feet as he pulled his fist out of the splintered boards that was once a dining table and regarded the boy with a look so furious and cold that it made a winter storm in Yukino-kuni seem like a summer day in Suna. "You think you know so much about us, team?" growled Naruto. "You think you know about real suffering? Have you ever had to lose your parents at birth, growing up never knowing them? Have you ever watched as your brother stood over the corpses of your adopted family after murdering them? You have a family here that loves you here in this house. Don't ever try and say you have it worse." With that, Naruto stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. "You got off lucky," said Sasuke coldly. "If you weren't our client's grandson, he would have hit you, and not just the table. And I wouldn't have stopped him." "Has he really been through all that?" asked Tsunami. "Yes," said a weak voice from the doorway, "and not just him." The group turned to see a tired-looking Kakashi leaning against the doorframe. "All of us have gone through losses in life and have faced hardship, but for Naruto and Sasuke, they've had it hardest. They both lost their entire family, twice in Naruto's case, and they picked themselves up and kept fighting." "What your son said, it really touched a nerve with Naruto." Inari turned and ran to his room, leaving his mother to sigh. "I'm so sorry. He's been like this since Keiza died." "Who is Keiza?" asked Hinata. "Keiza was the closest thing Inari had to a father after my husband died," said Tsunami. "He was a hero to this town and brought us all hope. Inari loved him, and he was a great man. Unfortunately, Gato did not like how he brought light to the dark grip he held over the town and had him publicly executed. His death broke the spirit of the town and shattered Inari's belief in heroes," sighed Tazuna. "I'm hoping that the bridge I'm building will restore that spirit." "I promise that we'll do what we can to help," said Kakashi. "We've signed on to this mission, and we won't abandon it." "Hinata-kun, can you go and find Naruto?" "Madame?" asked Hinata. Kakashi gave her a nice smile. "I have confidence in your ability to calm him down." Hinata blushed but headed out the door to find Naruto. X Scene XX Naruto was currently fighting a battle royale with his clones in a forest clearing, tearing through them with his fists and kunai as he tried to burn off his anger and frustration. After destroying the last clone, Naruto let out a sigh. "Is there something you need, Hinata-kun?" he asked. causing the timid heiress to step into the clearing. "How did you know it was me?" asked Hinata. "I heard you coming," said Naruto. "You stepped on a twig as you approached." Hinata blushed as she forced herself to remain in control and conscious around her crush. "Are you feeling alright?" she asked. "Is this because of what I said earlier?" asked Naruto. Hinata nodded and walked over to him. "If you want to talk, I wouldn't mind listening." "What's there to say?" sighed Naruto. "That stuff is in the past. I just want to look forward. I wish I could be as strong as you, Naruto-kun," said Hinata sadly, causing the blonde to look at her confusedly. "What do you mean, Hinata-kun?" asked Naruto. "You're an amazing person and the heiress to the Hyuga clan. Plus you have that jujutsu that makes your eyes look all serious." Hinata blushed and decided that, since Naruto came clean about his past, she could muster the courage to do so as well. "When I was 3, I was kidnapped and my father had to lose his brother while rescuing me. This made him somewhat cold towards me and my sister, and I fell out of his favor because I was too weak and didn't want to hurt Hanabi in a match." "That's crazy," said Naruto. "Just because you care for your sister doesn't mean you're weak. Don't let anyone tell you differently." Hinata blushed dark red from the praise and decided to do one last bold act before her courage ran out. Steeling herself, she leaned over to the blonde and gave him a quick peck on the cheek. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she said before bolting back to the house. Naruto stood there in shock from the kiss, even if it was only on the cheek. He never received anything like that from girls before, and he couldn't help but notice now how pretty Hinata was, and how her hair had a faint lavender smell that he caught when she kissed him. It was nice. He was snapped out of his thoughts, however, when he heard a deep voice chuckling in his mind. "Looks like you found a cute vixen, Gaki," said the Kyuubi's voice. "Kyuubi?" said Naruto. "What do you want?" "Nothing really," said the Kyuubi. "It gets boring in here all the time, so I thought I'd amuse myself." "So are you going to go after her?" "What are you talking about?" stammered Naruto. "Hinata-kun is my teammate and she probably was just thanking me for talking to her." The Kyuubi sighed at the stupidity of his host. "Don't say I didn't try to help then." "Why are you trying to help anyways?" asked Naruto. "You didn't seem that concerned about me before." "Who knows?" said the Kyuubi. "We're stuck with each other, so maybe I just wanted to be cordial for once." "How do I know I can trust you?" asked Naruto. "You don't," said the Kyuubi, "but whether you do or don't doesn't concern me, Gaki. Now you should get back to the others. I'm tired of talking and want to sleep for a bit." "Fine," sighed Naruto as the Kyuubi cut the connection. "Stupid fox." As Naruto headed back to Tezuna's house, the Kyuubi sat in Naruto's mindscape thinking. "Those eyes of his, they're like yours. Is he the one you spoke of all those years ago, father?" Scene XX. That night, at Gato's headquarters, 2 figures wearing black cloaks with red clouds on them and straw hats arrived. The guards at the door tried to stop them to ask for credentials, but were cut down by the katana that one of them carried. Walking into Gato's personal office, the 2 of them took off their hats and regarded the short CEO sitting behind the ornate desk. "Kakuzu," said Gato, "your reputation precedes you. Though I would appreciate if your partner didn't kill my men." "DCH, they shouldn't have gotten in the way," said Kurashi as he flicked the blood off his sword and onto the expensive carpet. Kakuzu sighed while a vein throbbed on Gato's head from the swordsman's actions. "The payment?" Gato nodded and his men pulled out several cases that they opened to reveal the Ryo that they had been promised as an advance payment. "You can count it," said Gato. "I always make sure to pay the ones I hire in full." "You said there was an opportunity for both of us to make a profit?" prompted Kakuzu. "Indeed," said Gato as he steepled his fingers. "I'm having some trouble with some shinobi that were hired to keep me from killing a bridge builder that wants to free this land from my grip. I don't see how this will benefit me," said Kakuzu. Gato simply smiled and handed the report his agents had gathered on the battle with Zabuza to the Akatsuki member. On the team is an Uchiha with an awakened Sharingan and an unmarked Hyuga girl. Also leading the team is Kakashi of the Sharingan, whom has a large price on his head in several countries due to his skill. You could collect on the Jonin's bounty and sell the 2 brats to Kumo as Dujutsu breeding stock. As for the blonde brat, you're free to do as you wish with him." Said Kakuzu, as he read the report. "That does sound like an intriguing proposal. Though you did not mention Sharingan Kakashi in your previous report. Is that going to be a problem?" asked Gato with a raised eyebrow. "Perhaps," said Kakuzu, "if you want me to accept, I'll need another 100,000 Ryo as compensation." "Fine," growled Gato, "it will be delivered before the end of the day. Then I look forward to doing business with you," said Kakuzu. The next day, Kakashi had recovered enough for the team to begin guard duty at the bridge while Tazuna worked to complete it. It was simple at first, but Team 7 noticed an argument going on with some of the workmen and Tazuna. Seeing that things were slow for them at the moment, the group decided to listen in. "I don't care what you say, Tazuna," said a worker while several others stood by him. "We have homes and families to protect and we can't do that if Gato kills us for helping you." "Kaido, wait," said Tazuna, "I've hired Shinobi to protect us. Powerful Shinobi from Konohagakure no Sato." The worker glanced over to the members of Team 7 and took in their appearances. "All I see are some kids and an injured sensei. Sorry Tazuna, but we can't just rely on them to protect us, so we're gonna leave before things get dangerous." "Fine," spat Tazuna, "get lost you cowards. I don't need you. I'll build the bridge myself." As the men left, Tazuna slumped and turned toward the Konoha Shinobi. "I'm sorry. It looks like you decided to stick with this mission for nothing. Without workers, I can't build this bridge." "Well," said Kakashi as he walked over with a slight limp, "if it's numbers you need, I think my team might be able to help with that." "How?" asked Tazuna. "There's only 4 of you and we'll need more than 3 kids and a sensei that walks with a limp." Kakashi gave the man an eye smile. "Naruto-kun, if you would." Naruto smirked and moved his hands into a familiar seal and channeled his chakra, Taiju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Tazuna's eyes widened as an explosion of smoke that covered the partially constructed bridge. When the smoke cleared, his eyes bugged out, as now the bridge was covered by a small army of clones of the blonde teen, all of them smirking at the bridge builder. "This enough for you?" the copies asked as one. "More than enough," smiled Tazuna. "Just tell them what you need them to do," said Naruto. "Right," said Tazuna. The bridge builder began to direct the clones to perform the tasks needed to continue the construction of the bridge, while Kakashi took his team to do more training while he recovered from his fight with Zabuza, leaving a dozen Naruto clones on guard duty. Scene XX The Jonin followed Kakashi to a clearing where he leaned on a tree. "Kakashi-sensei," said Naruto, "what are we doing here?" "Well," said Kakashi, "since we have some time, I wanted to work on some new training. I know we've covered the basic water walking drills during our training sessions, we'll start working on some elemental jutsu training." "You're gonna teach us some of your jutsu?" exclaimed Naruto. "I think you've earned it," said Kakashi. "Now that Zabuza's taken care of, we should be able to relax a bit before we look out." The team jumped to the side and was just barely able to dodge a torrent of fire that shot at them. As they recovered, a figure wearing black robes that had red clouds stamped on them landed in the clearing with a smirk on his face as he held a katana with an ornate handle that had a dragon's gaping maw at the base. "Hey," laughed the shinobi, "you brats managed to dodge." "Who are you?" growled Naruto, but Kakashi held up a hand to stop him from advancing. "I recognize you," said Kakashi, "Dragon Fang Kurashia, a missing nin from Kumo and a member of the Akatsuki now by the looks of it." "As to be expected from Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan," said another voice as another cloaked figure walked out of the trees, "though I'd expect my partner to use his brain and act like a real shinobi once in a while. A pity." "Kakuzu," said Kakashi as he scowled behind his mask, "a missing nin from Taki. Not much else mentioned in the bingo books." "I'm pleased you know me," said Kakuzu, "but I've been paid to kill you, and I'd like to collect that bounty on your head as well. Kurashia, deal with the brats while I take care of Hatake here." "DCH," said Kurashia as he readied his katana, "don't order me around, Kakuzu." "Don't underestimate him," said Kakashi as he warned his team, "they are elite shinobi and won't hesitate." "You should pay more attention," said Kakuzu as his fist turned black and he punched at Kakashi, shattering the tree the Jonin was in front of when his strike was dodged. Such power, thought Kakashi before weaving through several hand seals. "Katen, Gokakyu no Jutsu." Kakashi shot a large fireball at the missing nin, but Kakuzu made several hand seals of his own and spat out a large wall of water that doused the fireball easily. "Is that the best you can do?" asked Kakuzu as he made more hand signs and turned his fist black again before punching at Kakashi. "Crap," thought Kakashi as he dodged the punch, "I'm still recovering from fighting Zabuza. I can't let this drag out too long, and I'm not strong enough to use the Sharingan again so soon." Weaving through several more hand seals, Kakashi took a deep breath and blew out bullets of compressed air at Kakuzu, futon, air bullets. As Kakuzu dodged around Kakashi's attack, his partner was taking on the 3 Jonin of Team 7 with a sadistic smirk on his face as he slashed at them with his katana. Naruto had created several Kage Bunshin that were hidden around the area and they used Kawarimi to switch with their teammates when they were about to be injured, a tactic that had already saved their lives a dozen times during the battle. "Cowards," spat Kurashia as he cut down another Kage Bunshin, "you brats can't put up a good fight." "Shut up, yelled Naruto as he threw a kunai at Kurashia that the missing nin dodged with ease. "Is that the best you've got, Blondie?" asked Kurashia with a smirk. "No," said Naruto, causing the shinobi to frown before the poof of a kawarimi behind his head made him spin with wide eyes. "Take this," yelled Sasuke as he swung his sword at the swordsman's unguarded neck. Kurashia was able to dodge the attack, but the fact that it surprised him hindered his reaction time and he received a cut across his cheek as a result. Scowling at the Genin, he slammed a kick into Sasuke's gut that sent the Genin sprawling back. "You brats," spat the swordsman, "I'll teach you to think you can actually match a real shinobi." Gathering some of his blood on his thumb, he proceeded to spread it over the flat side of his katana. "Drink up Kuketsuki," said Kurashia. The blade absorbed the blood that was spread on it, causing the eyes in the dragon head to glow bright red as the head itself let out a roar. Suddenly, flames erupted over the katana's edge and the missing nin shot at Sasuke, swinging his blade at the Genin, his blazing sword cleaving through the Uchiha's sword easily. "Time's up," said Kurashia as he impaled Sasuke, only for the body to be replaced by a wooden log. "Kaden, Gokaku no Jutsu," yelled Sasuke from behind the shinobi as he spat a stream of fire at him. Kurashia spun around and brought his flaming sword down on the fireball, dispelling it with ease. "Is that your best shot?" "Suiten, Mijirappa," yelled Hinata from behind Kurashia as she spat a blast of water out of her mouth. "Futon, Daitappa," yelled Naruto from alongside the heiress as he shot a massive blast of wind from his mouth. The wind and water merged into a powerful vortex that shot toward the enemy shinobi, but Kurashia stood his ground, attempting to block the attack with his sword. For a while, the attack and the shinobi battled for dominance, but the attack won out and knocked the sword from the missing nin's hand as he was sent sprawling to the ground from the force behind the jutsu. "Take that!" cheered Naruto. "Don't get cocky," growled Kurashia before he shot at Sasuke. The missing nin grabbed the last Uchiha's neck and lifted him off the ground, causing Sasuke to sputter as his windpipe was crushed. "Now, how about I crush your teammate's neck before we kill that bridge builder?" "Kurashia," growled Kakuzu as he kicked Kakashi to the ground. "Remember, we need the Uchiha alive. Doesn't mean we have to bring him back unharmed," said Kurashia as he squeezed Sasuke's neck tighter. Naruto watched as his brother was held helpless by the missing nin and wished he had the power to do something. Kakashi was busy with his own opponent and neither he nor Hinata would be able to intervene before Kurashia could snap Sasuke's neck. "Do you want to save him?" asked the Kyuubi from his mindscape. "I can help you." Naruto suddenly found himself sitting in the shallow water of his mindscape staring at the large cage that housed his tenant. "What do you want in return?" asked Naruto. "There has to be a catch. There always is in the stories about demons and their deals." The Kyuubi was silent for a moment before he let out a booming laugh that echoed through the chamber. "Ha ha ha, you have guts, kid." "No, this isn't about me giving you my power in exchange for something of yours." "Then what?" yelled Naruto. "How can I save Niazan?" "Use those eyes of yours," said the fox. "You didn't think the sage brought peace to the world and was revered as a god simply because he could use every element. No, he had power beyond normal jutsu. Simply do as I say and you can save his life." "Fine," said Naruto, "but I don't trust you." "Good," said the beast with a grin, "then there's hope for you yet." Scene XX Naruto opened his eyes in the real world and realized only seconds had passed. Concentrating, he activated his Rinnegan and stretched out his hand toward the sword Hinata and him had knocked out of the missing nin's hands. Focusing chakra into his palms, he reached out and pulled at the sword with his mind, causing it to rise off the ground. "What are you doing, brat?" asked Kurashia. "This," said Naruto, not noticing that Hinata had seen his eyes and was staring in shock at them, having recognized them from history books, Banshu Tenin. The sword went spinning silently through the air toward Naruto, slicing through Kurashia's shoulder and tendons, forcing him to drop the Genin as he screamed in pain. "Curse you low-life trash!" snarled Kurashia. "Pathetic," sighed Kakuzu as he kicked down Kakashi again and impaled him with his blackened fist. "I'll deal with you brats myself." Suddenly, the body he had impaled transformed into lightning that traveled through Kakuzu's body and stunned him, causing him to stagger back. "A Raiden cage bunshine?" ground out Kakuzu in shock before hearing the sound of thousands of chirping birds that was followed by a lightning-coated fist impaling him through his chest from behind. "I don't need my Sharingan to be observant," said Kakashi from behind Kakuzu. "I saw the hand seals you used to activate that strange jutsu that enhanced your strength. One was quite clear, the Doden hand seal. And Doden jutsu was always weak to Raiden." Kakashi ripped his hand out from Kakuzu's chest and the shinobi staggered forward, as black threads emerged from the wound, sealing it up and stopping blood flow. "What the?" said Kakashi in surprise. Looks like we're at a disadvantage, said Kakuzu. I only have 2 hearts left and would rather leave to fight another day than die here. Kakuzu reached out and his hand extended from his sleeve, connected to his arm only by the same strange black threads, grabbing Kurashia and pulling him to Kakuzu's side. The missing nin made a hand seal and used a shunshine to quickly leave the area, leaving the team alone. Scene XX. Once the 2 Rouge Shinobi were a good distance away, Kakuzu threw Kurashia to the ground in disgust. Idiot, growled the former Taki Shinobi, you were beaten by 3 Jinan. They got lucky, said the swordsman as he gripped what was left of his injured arm. When I find them again, I will make them suffer as I rip off their fingers one by one and shove them down their throats. No, snarled Kakuzu as his threads emerged from his cloak, I've had enough of your incompetence and your attitude in general. You're a worthless excuse for a shinobi. No, you do have 1 use left. Before Kurashia could react, Kakuzu plunged his hand into the swordsman's chest and ripped out his still beating heart. As the shinobi lay dying, the last thing he saw was Kakuzu's threads cocooning the organ and pulling it into his own body. Now I have 3 again, said Kakuzu as he removed the ring from his former partner's left index finger and placed it in a pocket. Leader Sama won't be happy, but that guy was an idiot anyway. Kakuzu made several hand seals and shot a gout of flame from his mouth that incinerated his former partner's dead body. The new heart works well, it seems, said the Akatsuki member before he left to update his superior. When Team 7 arrived back at Tazana's house, tired and weary from their fight, Tsunami quickly sat them down and began to tend to their injuries. What happened? She asked Kakashi as she bandaged his cuts. It seems Gato saw fit to hire some additional muscle, said Kakashi. We had to fight with 2 more missing nin that came to deal with us and paved the way for Gato to finish off your father, Tsunami-san. You dealt with them, right? Asked Tsunami worriedly. Kakashi nodded. They won't be giving us any more trouble. It doesn't matter, yelled Inari as he walked out from behind the wall where he'd been eavesdropping. I told you, heroes don't exist. Gato will just keep sending more shinobi after you until you die. Inari, scolded his mother. No, interrupted Kakashi, he's right. Well, half right. Gato won't stop, and with pockets as deep as his, he can afford to keep sending more shinobi after us until we slip up and are killed. No, the only surefire way to kill a snake is to cut off the head. Rest up, team, tonight we go after Gato himself. Right, said Naruto, we'll show him what we can do. Don't you get it? Protested Inari. Gato has an army. You can't win, so stop pretending to be heroes. There's something you should know about heroes, said Sasuke as he picked up his kunai pouch. Heroes aren't just people that rise up to triumphantly stop the villain and save the day. Sometimes, all a person has to do is to stand up for what is right instead of bowing down and crying about all that is wrong in the world. The world is harsh, but sometimes, the smallest light can banish the darkness in life, and because of that, anyone can be a hero. With that parting thought, the team began to prepare for the fight they would have that night, leaving Inari to think on what Sasuke had said. Scene XX. So those 2 weren't much use either, muttered Gato. Figures. Sir, said one of his subordinates, from what our sources have gathered, the bridge builder is alone while building the bridge with only copies of one of the Jinan helping him. Additionally, the copies are quite fragile and only 1 good hit is needed to dispel them. Excellent, said Gato, then we attack tomorrow while Tazana's hired bodyguards are licking their wounds. Scene XX. Later, Hinata was trying to muster up the courage to ask Naruto about what had happened earlier in their fight. She was just about to knock on his door when a voice from behind her made her jump. Something the matter? Asked Kakashi from behind her. Eep! Squeaked the Hyuga heiress, KK Kakashi-sensei? I mean. You wanted to talk to Naruto about what happened during your fight with Kurashia? Asked the Jonin seriously, getting a nod from the timid girl. Well, he sighed, you can ask him what you want, but if he refuses to answer, you are not allowed to press him. This is an important secret, so if he refuses to answer, that's the end of it. Hi sensei, said Hinata. Kakashi nodded and opened the door to Naruto's room, revealing the blonde Jinan sharpening some of his kunai on a whetstone. Kakashi-sensei, Hinata-kun, said Naruto as he looked up, what can I do for you? Hinata-kun here has something she wants to talk to you about, said Kakashi, it's about the strange ability you used in your last battle. Naruto realized what they were talking about and glanced at Kakashi. Getting a nod from his sensei, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath before opening them to reveal the Rinnegan. Naruto-kun? Gasped Hinata, those eyes. I guess I'd better start from the beginning, said Naruto. After graduation, there was an incident and I was hurt really bad. Niazan had to donate blood in order for me to survive, and something happened inside me, causing my eyes to manifest this Jujutsu. I recognize those eyes from the ancient scrolls in the Hyuga library, said Hinata. They're the eyes of the Sage of Six Paths. Yeah, said Naruto, they're called the Rinnegan, and they're the reason I can use all 5 elements and the reason I could use that weird technique. Hinata, said Kakashi seriously, I'm going to have to ask that you keep what you have just learned a secret from everyone, including your family. This has to be kept a secret for Naruto's protection. If unscrupulous elements found out about his ability, they might target him in order to take it for themselves. I understand, Kakashi-sensei, said Hinata. Thank you for trusting me, Naruto-kun. Of course, said Naruto with a big grin, we're teammates and friends, and if you can't trust your friends, then who can you trust? Hinata blushed before hurrying out of the room to avoid fainting again and to prepare her things for the assault that would happen that night. As she did so, Kakashi had to smile behind his mask. This team was truly living up to the reputation of all the Team 7s that had preceded them, including Team Minato. Scene XX. As the sun set behind the clouds, 4 figures shot through the shadows toward the headquarters of the Gato Company, not making a sound as their sandaled feet tread upon the paved stones. When they arrived at the gates, 2 kunai flew through the air and embedded themselves in the throats of the guards, killing them without giving them a chance to cry out. Kakashi made several seals with his hands, conveying a message to his team using Onbo sign language he had taught them prior to this mission. Hinata, use your Byakugan to scan the compound and search for Gato. Hinata nodded and activated her Jujutsu for a second, communicating with hand seals too. I see several people in what seems to be Gato in a central chamber, but I won't be able to keep my eyes working for too long. That's fine, signed Kakashi, keep formation as we move in. The team nodded and entered the compound, closing the gate behind them as they ran through the halls. They noted that the halls were rather empty, with whatever thugs they encountered being quickly dealt with. Soon, the group arrived at a pair of massive oaken doors that were reinforced with iron, and Kakashi nodded to Naruto, causing the Jonin to use his new ability to blast them off their hinges. Shinra-tensei, said Naruto as he activated his Rinnegan and used its powers to blast the mighty doors off of their hinges. So you brats are the Konoha Shinobi that the pathetic bridge builder hired? Mused Gato. I've got to say that I'm not impressed, even if you have Kakashi of the Sharingan teaching you. If you've come for my head, then I'm going to have to disappoint you. Gato snapped his fingers and hidden doors opened all around the room, doors so well concealed in the walls and floors that the Byakugan, or at least Hinata's control over it, wouldn't be able to discern their presence, and Gato's entire army of thugs and mercenaries poured out and into the room with their weapons drawn. I hope you don't think you'll be getting out alive, said Gato. Manji formation, said Kakashi. Nobody breaks our circle. No jutsu though, we don't want this place collapsing on our heads. Team 7 got into a circle with their backs facing inward as they got into ready stances. Hinata drew a kunai and activated her Byakugan, Naruto prepared to make several Kage Bunshin, Kakashi made ready to reveal his Sharingan, and Sasuke drew a familiar katana from a sheath on his back. Yes, Sasuke had taken Kuketsuki from Kurashi's corpse and used it to replace his normal katana after the missing nin's demise. He now held it in a ready stance as he faced down the small army of thugs. You really shouldn't have killed the guards, said Gato. When they didn't check in, I knew you had infiltrated my headquarters. Gato silently turned on his heel and snapped his fingers. Kill them, said Gato as he calmly left the room. With a roar, the thugs descended on the team and battle ensued. Hinata attacked the thugs using her kunai and Byakugan to cut down the thugs with surgical precision, while Naruto created 3 clones to attack several thugs at once. Sasuke and Kakashi activated their Sharingan and began to cut down the thugs with their sword and kunai, respectively, but for every thug they cut down, 2 more seemed to take their place. You brats won't beat our numbers, said a thug as he swung a club at one of Naruto's clones, causing it to dispel. Don't underestimate us, said Naruto as he threw several shuriken at the thugs, which were blocked by their weapons. Sorry, said a thug as he leveled a crossbow at Sasuke, who was too busy holding off several goons to defend himself. But you brats are finished. Niazan, yelled Naruto before another thug punched him down. The thug was about to pull the trigger, but a kunai was embedded into his head, causing him to fall to the ground. Don't get distracted, Naruto, said Kakashi as he resumed fighting. We take care of each other. Right, said Naruto as he kicked the thug standing over him in a very sensitive spot, causing him to cringe and fall to the ground in agony before Naruto got up. Thanks, heads up Hinata-kun. Naruto threw a kunai that nailed a thug that was trying to take advantage of Hinata being occupied with 2 goons in front of her, allowing her to finish one off. Arigato, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, 8 trigrams 32 palms. Using Juukan, Hinata struck at her opponent's vitals with bursts of chakra released from her palms, sending him flying to the ground as his body convulsed. The Hyuga heiress breathed hard from the attack. The exhaustion from the previous day's fights was taking its toll on her now. Not only her though, the rest of the team was starting to feel the burden from the previous fights, even Naruto, though to a lesser extent, and it was showing here in this fight. Suddenly, just as the fight began to become overwhelming, a crossbow bolt shot out and embedded itself in the chest of one of the thugs. "You guys alright?" asked a voice. When Team 7 turned around, their eyes widened at the sight before them and new hope began to bloom in their chests. Flashback XX as Inari ran through the streets, all he could think about was Team 7 fighting Gato's forces to save their home. Sometimes, all a person has to do is to stand up for what is right instead of bowing down and crying, "We won't let this country stay in Gato's hands. We'll beat him down and save this land." Bio. Heroes, huh? Thought Inari as he ran. Well, if anyone can be a hero, then I'll be one today. Everybody, yelled Inari. Play One Piece Movie 5 OST-Luffy Muku. The townsfolk looked up at Inari, causing the boy to hop on a crate before speaking. "Right now, 4 shinobi from Konoha are fighting to free our home, even though they have been fighting battles 3 days in a row," said Inari. "We can't just let them fight on their own while we sit back here and hope for the best. We should stand up and fight alongside them. We need to fight back for this town. Just like Kaiza did. We won't let his sacrifice be in vain. We'll fight." The townsfolk looked at each other and back to Inari before nodding, seeing the logic in his speech. "We won't let Gato push us around," said a butcher as he grabbed a knife. "We'll fight for our home," said a carpenter as he grabbed his hammers. "Yeah," cheered the town. Flashback and XX. "Sorry we're late," said Inari as he stood at the head of the group of armed villagers as he held a crossbow, "but the heroes always arrive at the last second, right?" "Don't worry," said one villager, "we're here to fight too, so go and take care of that bastard Gato. We'll deal with the trash here." Team 7 nodded and rushed after the short business tycoon while the final battle between the people of Nami no Kuni and Gato's hired muscle began. End song. Scene XX. Gato was collecting various papers and documents from his office in preparation for a quick departure, should his thugs not be enough to stop the Konoha shinobi. He knew he would have to pull out of this town, but planned to make sure the townsfolk would suffer as well. He would set up trading embargoes using his connections in the business world and make it so that nobody would ever trade goods with this nation. He would make sure their home would be drained dry along with their hope. Suddenly, the door to his office was blown off its hinges, kicking up a large dust cloud that obscured his vision. Play, Gyaku 10 meets Orchestra 2008. The Steel Samurai theme, Udo-sensei Tanasama no Uda. As Gato squinted his eyes, he could make out 4 figures standing in where his ruined door once stood. His blood ran colder than a winter's night in Yuki no Kuni as the dust settled and the forms of Team 7 were revealed, all 4 of them having their eyes, or eye in Kakashi's case, blazing with their activated Dujutsu. "Damn you shinobi," ground out Gato, but the tycoon knew that this was the end. As the 4 shinobi descended on the crime lord, he knew at that point why their kind were so sought after for their trade. End song. The morning of Team 7's departure was met with bittersweet feelings. The townsfolk had escaped the battle with little casualties, but some were left recovering from their injuries. Luckily, now that Gato was gone, the bridge had been completed in record time, thanks in no small part to Naruto adding his Cage Bunshine to the workforce. "You guys really were the heroes we needed," said Tazuna. "I'm sorry for what I said when I hired you. And for deceiving you." "No," said Kakashi, "we weren't the heroes this time. As Sasuke said, a person just needs to stand up for what's right to be a hero. I think your grandson was the real hero this time." "I guess you're right," said Tazuna as he ruffled his grandson's hair, "though you 4 showed us what we really needed to save our home." "Hope. Well, we'll be seeing you," said Naruto. "Don't forget, you can be as strong as you want, Inari." As the group left, the townsfolk looked over at the new bridge that was just about finished and Tazuna stroked his beard. "I think something's missing here," said Tazuna. "Guys, get me a stone plate." When traders and merchants would come to the Great Bridge, the first thing they would see upon entering Nami no Kuni would be a great stone placard with the following inscription: "Here stands the Great Bridge of Heroes. Let it be a reminder of what we must never give up." Team 7 was currently waiting at the training ground for their sensei to arrive. While they were waiting, they each were keeping busy with some hobbies they picked up. Sasuke was polishing and sharpening his new katana, Hinata was flowing through several forms that required her body to move like water flowing through a stream, and Naruto was practicing calligraphy on a scroll he had bought. Kakashi had suggested they pick up some habits to help them cope with the burden of killing that came with their line of work. He also told them that he had done the same when he was their age, and that was the reason he was so attached to the copy of Uchiha he could be found reading. Accepting that explanation, the three Genin had sought out hobbies of their own, resulting in the pastimes they were taking part in now. Their relaxation was broken when Kakashi appeared in front of them with a swirl of leaves indicating that he had used a sunshine to arrive. The three Genin looked up from what they were doing upon his arrival and got to their feet. "Good morning," said Kakashi cheerily, getting glares from his Genin team. "It's afternoon actually," deadpanned Naruto. "We've been waiting all morning for you." "Well, at least you've been keeping busy," said Kakashi with an eye smile. "I've got some bad news though. I'll be busy with some Jonin business for the next few weeks, so I won't be around to train you three. Luckily, I think I've found some people to make sure that you three won't grow lax in your training." Kakashi turned to Hinata, causing the girl to straighten up. "Hinata, after talking to your father about your skill with the Juuken and your Byakugan in our last mission, he has offered his help in perfecting that new style you're working on as a variant to the traditional technique." Hinata's lavender eyes widened at that. The fact that her father was willing to offer his help in training was something she had not expected. She resolved not to misplace the faith he was putting in her. Kakashi then turned to Sasuke and glanced at the sword he was holding at his side, which the Genin had been sure to take good care of since he picked it up from the site of their battle with the Akatsuki. "Sasuke," said the Jonin, "since you seem to be serious about learning the ways of the sword, I've talked to an old colleague of mine and she's agreed to teach you a few things. Here's instructions on how to contact her." Sasuke smirked at the prospect of getting kenjutsu instruction from someone who knew their way around a sword. He was eager to learn how to properly use his new sword in battle. "And finally you, Naruto-kun," said Kakashi, "a powerful shinobi, who just so happens to be one of Konoha's greatest spy masters, will be in town soon. I'm sure he'd be more than thrilled to take you under his wing and teach you several new jutsu. In fact, he's one of the Genin that was assigned to the Sundaime Hokage's team." Naruto's eyes sparkled with eagerness at the thought of learning jutsu from such a powerful shinobi, and they began to glass over as he imagined the possibilities. "Great," sighed the QB, now he's fantasizing again. "Well," said Kakashi, "I'll expect you three not to waste the next 3 weeks, and, should you prove you've advanced enough in your training when I return, I might even have a surprise for you three. Jane." With that, Kakashi vanished in another swirl of leaves, leaving the Genin students stunned and excited about the weeks that would come, all of them wondering what kind of surprise Kakashi would have in store if they were able to prove themselves. Scene XX. When Kakashi arrived in the Hokage's meeting room, Hiruzen sighed and checked the clock on the wall before turning toward the perpetually late Jonin. "So," said the Hokage before taking a drag from his pipe, "what's your excuse this time?" "I was making sure my team would be kept occupied while I'd be busy with this project," said Kakashi. "I must have lost track of time." The shinobi in the room exchanged looks before one Jonin with spiky black hair and a beard pulled out a cigarette and placed it in his mouth. "At least your excuses are getting more believable." Kakashi smirked behind his mask and reached over, lighting the tobacco stick with a quick burst of Katen chakra. "That's because it was true, Asuma." "If you are through," said Hiruzen, "we have business to discuss. I've called all of you here because of an important event that will be taking place soon, the Chunin exams." The Hokage lowered his pipe and looked over at the Jonin gathered with a serious gaze. "I know all of you have intentions of submitting your teams for the exams, but I will be holding off the final approval until this business is settled." Hiruzen saw that the Jonin were going to object, so he silenced them with a raise of his hand. "This business is of the utmost priority for the upcoming exams, and if not done properly, could have drastic results. The other shinobi villages have already submitted their Genin teams for testing, but I am rightfully wary about several of them. Therefore, you all will be doing discreet background checks and information gathering on any and all foreign applicants before they arrive in Konoha. Know this, you are not allowed to share any of this knowledge to your students, or to anyone that is not present in this room right now. Should I find that one of you did, that shinobi will be harshly punished and his or her team will be instantly disqualified from entering the exams. Do I make myself clear?" Getting nods from the gathered shinobi, Hiruzen placed several files onto his desk. "These are the information we have on the foreign teams. Pick one and begin your research immediately. That is all." Scene XX. That afternoon, Sasuke found himself walking through the town through the merchant district looking for the business listed in the directions Kakashi had given him when he told him about his kenjutsu instructor. He was so caught up in wondering what kind of person would be teaching him how to use his new blade that he wasn't looking where he was going and walked into someone. "Ow," he grunted as he picked himself off the ground. "You alright, Gaki?" asked a voice, and Sasuke looked up to see a purple-haired lady wearing an open trench coat over a mesh shirt and a miniskirt while munching on a stick of dango. "Yeah," muttered Sasuke as he dusted his jacket off. "What are you doing wandering around here?" asked the woman. "I'm looking for someone named Yugao Uzuki," said Sasuke as he glanced at the directions. "Kakashi-sensei said she could be found around here." "You want to speak to me?" asked a female voice from behind Sasuke, nearly causing him to jump before spinning around to see a woman with long purple hair, wearing a sword on her back. "Let me guess, you're the kid Kakashi-senpai wanted me to train?" Sasuke nodded and Yugao gave him a once-over. "You look like you've used a sword before, and that blade on your back is quality steel." "Very well, meet me at Training Ground 27 tomorrow morning. Don't follow your sensei's example and be on time." Sasuke nodded before leaving to go and find some dinner. Once he had left, the first woman turned to look at Yugao. "Didn't think you were the type to take on students, Yu-chan," said the woman as she munched on her dango. "I owe Kakashi a favor or two, Anko," said Yugao, and according to him, the Uchiha boy shows some promise with Kenjutsu. Whatever," said Anko as she finished her snack. "Now, how are things going with Hayate? You two gonna tie the knot anytime soon?" Yugao was lucky that nobody she knew was there to see her blush and sputter at the special Jonin. Scene XX. While Sasuke was meeting with Yugao, Naruto was heading to Ichiraku Rama to get a light snack. Translation: about a dozen bowls. He was eager to meet this new sensei of his, but ramen came first. He had his priorities after all. When he arrived at the familiar ramen stall, he was surprised to see a man with long white hair sitting on one of the stools with a bowl of miso ramen in front of him as he laughed with Tuchi. "Tuchi-san," said Naruto as he found a seat next to the new man. "I'd like 4 bowls miso, 2 shrimp, 2 chicken, and 4 beef." "Hi, coming right up Naruto-kun," said Tuchi with a smile as he began preparing the noodles. "You must really like your ramen, kid," said the man next to Naruto. Nodded the blonde shinobi, "Ramen is the best." "Hey," chuckled the man, "you remind me of an old friend. She liked ramen almost as much as you seem to." "Well, she should," said Naruto, "ramen is the food of the gods." "Well said," said Tuchi as he placed Naruto's first 2 bowls down in front of him. "What's your name, Gaki?" asked the man as Naruto began to dig into his meal. "Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha," said Naruto as he smiled around his meal. "Uchiha?" said the man in surprise. "Yeah," said Naruto, "so, what's your name?" "Me?" chuckled the man. "Well, let me tell you. I am Mount Myaboku's holy master Sennin, the Toad Sage Jiraiya. Women swoon when they hear my name. Men wish. Ga. Jiraiya was cut off from his monologue when Ayame walked out and slammed her ladle onto his head. "Don't do that around our customers," she sighed. "Anyway, kid," said Jiraiya as he put down money for his ramen, "judging by that headband, you must be one hell of a shinobi." "Yup," said Naruto, "and I'm gonna one day be Hokage." "So you think you have what it takes to take Sensei's place?" asked Jiraiya. "Sensei?" asked Naruto. "Yup," said Jiraiya, "my sensei when I was a Jonin is now the Sandaime Hokage." Suddenly Naruto jumped up and pointed at Jiraiya. "You?" "Excuse me?" asked Jiraiya. "You're the one Kakashi-sensei wanted to be my teacher," exclaimed Naruto. "Please, teach me all you can, sensei." Smirked Jiraiya, "I want to teach him, especially if he's Minato and Kushina's kid, but let's see him squirm a bit." "You know," said Jiraiya, "I am kind of busy, but maybe if you can prove to me you're not just all talk." "I'll show you then," said Naruto as he began to channel his chakra, but a swift chop to his head interrupted him. "Finish your meal first, Gaki," said Jiraiya, "we can see how good you are tomorrow. Meet me in Training Ground 3 at noon." With that, Jiraiya used Sunshine to depart for the hot springs, and left Naruto to finish his ramen. As Naruto ate, he was unaware that, within his seal, the Kyuubi was contemplating. "The signs are all there," mused the nine-tailed kitsune, "perhaps I should have a talk with my current host. If he is the one father spoke of, he will need my full power, and that old pervert is the one who holds the key." With that, the fox nodded and settled down in his cage for a nap. Okay, that's a wrap. Be sure to send in suggestions for the Chunin exams via review. Also, sorry for glossing over Hinata's part, but I didn't think her training with her father would be very interesting, as it isn't too different from her daily life really. The next morning, Sasuke arrived bright and early at Training Ground 27, eager to begin training with his new sensei. Feeling the weight of Kuketsuki on his back, he decided to polish and sharpen his blade again while waiting for his instructor to arrive. I see you know how to maintain a blade, said Yugao's voice from behind Sasuke, nearly causing him to jump as he sharpened it with his whetstone. Good, that's one less thing I'll have to teach you. Sasuke spun around and saw the kunoichi leaning against a tree. How do you keep sneaking up on me? I'm a shinobi, said Yugao, it's in the job description. So what are we doing first? Asked Sasuke. I want to see what I have to work with, said Yugao, so first, we're going to have a light spar. Alright, said Sasuke as he made to draw his sword, but was stopped when Yugao tossed a bouquet at his feet. What's this? Lesson 1, said Yugao, unless you know what you're doing, a sword won't be any more useful than a cheese knife, so until I feel you're ready, you'll be training with that. Sasuke scowled but picked up the wooden practice sword and got into his kenjutsu stance as Yugao drew a bouquet of her own and examined her student's form. The Uchiha air shot at the kunoichi, causing her to raise an eyebrow at his rash technique before sidestepping and smacking him on the back with her own weapon, causing him to fall flat on his face. Lesson 2, said Yugao, charging straight in is a good way to get yourself killed. Now get up. Sasuke pulled himself to his feet and got into his stance again. But this time, Yugao stopped him. You're off balance. Your weight is focused on your rear leg, and while that allows you to spring forward with more strength, it slows your ability to dodge. Evenly distribute your weight and remain light on your feet. Sasuke nodded and adjusted his stance, getting a nod from the kunoichi. Good. Much better, now come at me again. Sasuke did so and found that he had a better time moving and was lighter on his feet with the new stance. He was still knocked on his ass by a swing of Yugao's bouquet, but he could feel some improvement on his speed. Eventually, Yugao stopped him with a nod, satisfied with his current abilities. Very good, said the kunoichi, you have a long way to go, but you're not without promise. Meet me here every week at this time and we'll go over forms and technique. What am I supposed to do in the meantime? Asked Sasuke. Yugao smirked and tossed Sasuke several plain metal bracelets with kanji carved into them. What are these supposed to do? Asked the Uchiha. Put them on, prompted the purple-haired kunoichi, one on each arm and leg. Sasuke did so and Yugao raised her hands into a ram seal. Suddenly the Genin felt his limbs grow heavier and noticed his movements had become labored, as if he was trying to move while underwater. These training bands are etched with gravity and resistance seals, explained Yugao. They'll force you to work the muscles in your body, building your strength and speed. You are only to take them off when in a serious combat situation. Also, I have a regimen of exercises to help you build up your muscles, 50 push-ups, 70 sit-ups, 40 squats, and a run around the village, once every day in the morning. You can forego the run today, but I'd like you to do the other exercises when you get home. Sasuke nodded and Yugao vanished in a sunshine, leaving Sasuke to slowly trudge back to his house in the village, fighting against the resistance that the seals put on his arms with a determined look. Scene XX later that afternoon, Naruto was waiting at Training Ground 3, wondering when Jiraiya would arrive. He was working on his calligraphy when a shadow suddenly covered his scroll. You're late, said Naruto without looking up. You're quite good with that, said the old sage. Thanks, said Naruto as he put away his brush and ink. So what are we going to do for my training? I have a few ideas on what we can do, said Jiraiya, and I've heard a lot about your previous missions from Sensei. So, is it true that you've acquired the Rinnegan? Naruto glanced at him hesitantly, but since Kakashi-sensei and the Sandaime seemed to trust this man, he closed his eyes and activated his Dujutsu. So it's true, said Jiraiya. Well kid, it looks like you've got the right sensei. I happen to know a few things about those eyes, and I might be able to teach you some cool jutsu that you can use. Really? Said Naruto in excitement, his irritation at the sage's lateness now forgotten. Jiraiya nodded. Yup, I didn't get to be as skilled as I am now without learning a lot of cool jutsu. Want to see one? Of course, said Naruto as he deactivated his Rinnegan. Watch closely, said Jiraiya as he went through the tiger, hare, boar, and dog seals, Doton, Doryuki. The toad sage slammed his hands into the ground and a wall of stone erupted in front of him, causing Naruto's eyes to go wide. Awesome, said Naruto, let me try. Naruto quickly made the seals for the jutsu and mimicked the sage's actions, but unfortunately, his chakra control still needed some work. Luckily, the jutsu worked, but there was a slight side effect. Damn, said Jiraiya as he stared at the giant stone monolith Naruto had created, we're gonna need to work on that, Gaki. Naruto scowled at the jab at his abysmal chakra control. It's not my fault I have too much chakra. Feeling sorry for him, the Sannin pulled out a scroll and tossed it to Naruto. Here, maybe this jutsu will help. Naruto read through the scroll several times, making sure he understood the technique, before getting up. "Okay. Let me try." "Wait a minute," began Jiraiya as he tried to stop the blonde. After all, it would take an immense amount of chakra to successfully use the jutsu here, where there was no water nearby to use in the technique. But before he could stop him, Naruto finished the hand seals. "Suten, Suryuden no Jutsu," yelled Naruto before he spat out a torrent of water that formed into a serpentine dragon that proceeded to slam into and topple the monolith he had created before splashing down onto the ground. "Wow," breathed Naruto, "I feel a bit winded from that." As Jiraiya watched the blonde Jinan, he had to make a conscious effort to pick his jaw up off the ground before rubbing his eyes in shock and pinching himself to make sure he didn't just hallucinate the whole thing. He just saw Jinan perform a branked Suten jutsu without a nearby source of water and he claimed to only be a bit winded? The Sannin didn't think even Tobirama Senju was that skilled as a Jinan, and he was hailed as the best of the best in terms of Suten techniques. He knew that Naruto would have immense chakra reserves due to his status as a Jinchuriki and due to the fact that he was an Uzumaki, but this was just ridiculous. "Well," said Jiraiya, "it looks like we'll need to work on chakra control, but jutsu-wise, you should absorb these like a sponge. Firstly though, has the Kyuubi been speaking to you recently?" "Not recently," said Naruto, "but there was that time in Nami no Kuni where he taught me a technique for my Rinnegan that ended up saving our lives." "The Kyuubi taught you a new technique?" asked Jiraiya. "Did it ask for anything in return? Did it ask for you to release it?" "Not really," said Naruto, "he just told me how to do the technique which allowed me to use it to save my friends." Said Jiraiya. "Naruto, can you show me the seal on your stomach?" Wondering what was going on, yet trusting the man, Naruto lifted up his shirt to reveal the Kyuubi seal. Leaning in, the old seal master inspected the seal that kept the mightiest of the Bija sealed away. What surprised him was that the seal was of an advanced Uzumaki clan design, as opposed to something he or Minato would be able to whip up. As the sage inspected the 10 trigram seal, the seal's occupant decided that now would be a good time to open a dialogue with his jailer about some important details. "Oigaki," growled the Kyuubi from Naruto's mind, "we need to talk." Naruto suddenly found himself standing ankle-deep in the water flowing through his sewer of a mindscape staring at the Kyuubi's cage. "Glad you could make it," said the fox as he looked down at Naruto. "What do you want, Kyuubi?" growled Naruto, "and if you want me to set you free, I've got 2 words and you won't like them. Here's a hint, the first one starts with a F. "Tch, insolent brat," grumbled the Kyuubi, "I didn't call you here to get you to let me raise your village to the ground." "Then why am I here?" asked Naruto. "I'd like to make a deal with you," said Kyuubi before interrupting Naruto as he made to protest. "You won't have to remove the seal or anything. I'd just like to be able to have a bit more freedom to see the world around you." "So what do you expect me to do about that?" asked Naruto as he crossed his arms. "Let me have control for 2 minutes, said the Kyuubi. "I'd like to talk to the seal master that's going to be training you." "Fine," said Naruto, 2 minutes, and if I see you doing anything I don't like, I'm cutting the connection." The kitsune nodded and the 2 of them closed their eyes to return to the physical world. Scene XX Jiraiya watched Naruto warily upon finishing his examination. He had noticed the boy's eyes become glassy and distant and figured he was talking with his prisoner, so he mentally prepared several suppression seals to use if the fox tried to escape. Because of this, he was noticeably and understandably on edge when Naruto's blue irises became blood red and his pupils became vulpine slits. "Ah," said the Kyuubi with Naruto's voice, "I'd almost forgotten what the sun felt like." "Who are you?" asked Jiraiya, "and what have you done with Naruto?" "I think that who I am is obvious, human," said the Kyuubi. "Kyuubi," growled Jiraiya as he made ready to fight. "Calm down, I don't want to fight. At least, not today," growled the Kyuubi. "I'm here to offer a deal in regards to the brat's training." "Why should I make any deals with you?" asked Jiraiya. "You tried to destroy Konoha." "First of all, I was being controlled," huffed the Kyuubi. "If anything, I would have wanted to get as far away from you lot so I could remain free. Secondly, I happen to have an advantage you could use in your training of the brat. I knew the original holder of those eyes and thus could teach him several new tricks for them." "How do I know you can be trusted?" asked Jiraiya. "You don't," said the Kyuubi with a grin, "but that's the life of a shinobi." "What do you want in exchange?" asked Jiraiya. "There has to be a catch." "What I want is simple," said the Bijou. "I'd like you to modify the seal so I can see and feel more of the outside world from within the brat. It is annoyingly boring sitting in that cage day after day." "Do I have your word that you won't try to break free?" asked Jiraiya. "Of course not," said the Kyuubi with a smirk, "but I do have an interest in this brat, and thus need him alive. Jiraiya was about to retort, but Naruto's eyes turned back to normal, and the Jonin looked around curiously. "Jiraiya-sensei," said Naruto, "what did the fox want?" The sage sighed, "Show me the seal again, Naruto-kun. It looks like I'm going to be getting a bit of help in your training. On the bright side, I promise that you will be a force to be reckoned with when we're done." Naruto nodded with a huge grin, and Jiraiya went back to inspecting the seal, wondering if Naruto might just be the child the great Toad Elder foresaw. Just a few notes: Naruto won't be able to spam Suten Jutsu without a source of water, because just using one like that requires immense chakra reserves, and even with the QB, he's still just a kid and has limited chakra. Also, the QB is being nicer for a reason. I won't spoil anything here, but it is part of the plot in the future. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.